get straight into today's training. So you really are in for a special treat. I've known Karl for quite a long time, and I mentioned I'm really familiar with his online coaching membership program, which is it's actually it's mind blowing. But the one thing that I admire most about Karl is that he's one of the guys that's actually legitimately and truthfully done it in the coaching space, and he's actually still doing it. He's the world is full of guys and girls that talk a lot of game, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people on this training right now that have hired maybe a business coach or another coach that they thought were great, and then at the end of the day couldn't really deliver the results. Well, Karl is definitely not one of those guys. He's the one that walks his talk, and he's proven it over and over and over again. And what I love about Karl is that he's just like me. He's a self-confessed terrible salesperson, but he's an absolutely awesome coach that achieves profound results with his business coaches and with his coaching clients, and I'm sure that you're the same as well. But he's built a $5.5 million coaching business without doing $400 per month. He franchised his own business coaching company at 33. He's been driving small business traffic online for 10 years. He has a LinkedIn campaign. I found this out so long ago. He has a LinkedIn advertising campaign that's done over $1 million of recurring coaching revenue for his company. And he is credited with building the world's first 7-figure online coaching program specifically for startups and local small business owners. And as I mentioned, he's got an online coaching membership program that they invested over $1 million to build, and it took them over 7 years to complete. And again, I mentioned I had a more of an in-depth look at that yesterday, and I can see why it took 7 years to come, and hopefully he's going to show that to you guys on today's training because it's absolutely awesome. So at my request, he's going to be providing the first 25 preview applicants today the opportunity to have one built for them at his expense, just for getting on this training with me. So, and that's included with the world-class lead generation online training that he does as well. So without further ado, please let me bring on Karl Bryan. Karl, are you with us, mate?
Luke, I certainly am. Thank you so much for that very, very kind introduction. Much, much appreciated, my friend. And tell me, how's the weather over there in sunny Australia?
Well,
you lucky duck?
It's 7 a.m. in the morning, and it's actually beautiful because it's daylight savings here, so it's really beautiful weather outside at the moment.
For the rest of us hanging out here in North America, I'm in Vancouver, folks, but the rest of us in North America aren't fortunate enough to be hanging out in New Zealand and Australia. I know we got folks from all over the world, so no doubt there's some other folks with the sunshine and this early in the morning, but that's not happening in Vancouver. Let me tell you. Drive me crazy, dude. But anyway, so look, Luke, let me get straight into it. Look, folks, I want to say I'm extremely excited and also challenged to be here today. My excitement comes from the fact that I get to give back. Luke has been generous enough to send out a few emails to you guys. Nothing mucking about. He's got he's got over 20,000 coaches on his database. He sends a couple emails, and we got a couple hundred people on the webinar. So again, I want to honor you, Luke, for doing that. Very, very cool. But that also means that I want to put on a heck of a show here, and I want to be able to give back and make sure you guys, it's one thing to spend your money. It's a whole other thing to spend your time, the time you can't get back. So got some great information. My challenge lies in the fact that I run an 8-hour presentation on effectively what I'm about to go through today. So I'm trying to break that down into about 90 minutes, possibly as long as 2 hours. We'll see how we go. But the nuts and bolts of it, guys, got some great stuff to come at you. Let me just start with this. I've got a concept that I've been teaching for a long time, and I've been in my own world trying to perfect it as good as I can. And I call it CEP. What that is the C stands for cognitive, the E is emotional, and P is physical. Let me explain what that means. The cognitive, you ever been to one of those seminars and you're sitting in the chair, you're taking tons of notes, or maybe it's a webinar like this one where you're listening and trying to take it all in. And then you get it on a cognitive level, you take your notes, you go home, you think, wow, that was amazing, and what do? Absolutely nothing, nothing changes, and then you think to yourself in 3 months, why the heck didn't I change anything? Why are things not altered? And the reason for that is you got it at a cognitive level, you understand the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s, but next you need to get it on an emotional level, emotional mastery, okay, where you got to get it in your mind. A lot of people reference this as your why. The bottom line is, though, you got to establish why that cognitive understanding, what's it actually going to mean to you? Okay, so you got to get it in between your ears and at a very, very emotional level. And then the third one is P, which is physical. Now you actually have to own it in your body, and you have to do it. Let me give you a real simple example of this. Would everybody agree that all of us should wake up at 6 a.m. every single morning? And if we did, we would get a little more done. We'd lose a little bit of weight. We'd be in better shape. We'd be able to spend a little bit of extra time with our kids. We'd be better business people, and we'd probably make more money. That'd be fair to say? Well, why does 95% of the population not wake up at 6 a.m. then? On a cognitive level, surely we understand how to do it, right? What do you got to do? Set your alarm clock, wake up. Instead of hitting the snooze button, you put your shoes on and start going for, walking downstairs, walk to the bathroom, okay? But what if we took it one step further and said, okay, well, what does waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning mean to you? Okay, again, I went through them. You're going to lose some weight. You're going to make some more money. You're going to be significantly more efficient throughout the day. And what if you really, really own that in your mind and that it really, really meant something, that now's the time, this is the day, and I'm going to start? So guess what you do? On a physical level, you wake up tomorrow at 6 a.m. In fact, 5:55, so that at 6 a.m. you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, okay? And then how about you do it for 21 days in a row? Tell me, folks, what happens on day 22? You don't need an alarm clock, right? You just automatically wake up. So why do I go through that? This is where online, for whatever reason, the internet tends to freak people out, and it seems to be this thing that we overcomplicate at a very, very high level, and you do it in your head more than you do physically. So why I'm saying that is I want to make sure that you guys don't show up to this webinar and get some great content and then not go and apply it. The application information is useless without the application, okay? So let's make sure that we own it in our mind with our why, and then we own it in our body where we're going to go and follow through. Like, how about you commit right now before I even practically get starting? I want you to commit to doing one blog post or one comment on the internet every single day for 21 days. Guess what will happen on day 22? Suddenly you're going to have yourself some online activity. That online activity is going to lead to some engagement, and those engagements are going to lead to coaching clients, and those coaching clients are going to mean revenue for your coaching company, and you're going to be able to achieve your goals at a significantly quicker level, okay? So again, CEP, I want you guys to get that, and I want you to make sure at the end of this, we're going to come back to that, and I want to talk about it in terms of, okay, what's the application? The second thing I want to go over, selling is a transfer of belief. Luke mentioned earlier, and it's absolutely true, as terrible salesperson when I started out with coaching, okay, but I was an incredibly good coach. So what I found is the better I got at coaching, the better I got at closing, okay? So selling is a transfer of belief, and you can't transfer something that which you don't own. So in other words, I don't want to ask you consciously, I want to ask your subconscious mind, do you really believe that you're a good coach? Do you really believe you've got the capacity to transform lives? Do you really believe that you can sit with these business owners and take their profits from where they're at and then help them get to where they want to be? And the more you can strengthen that muscle, the better you're going to become at selling, and then the easier it's going to be to pick up the phone, leave messages on those blog posts, and send out the emails to start some engagements, okay? That's one of the things internally, like for our company, my company is Leader Publishing Worldwide, and what we do is we develop the best business coaching talent on the planet. Okay, and it's one of the values at the core of our business, and the reason why is that we know when we help you strengthen that muscle and get significantly better at helping these folks, our lead generation strategies and our scripts and our processes will be followed through on a physical level at a significantly higher rate. Okay, but I want you to think about that. You really got to make sure before you want to go and get really good online, and before you expect to make $187,000 in your first 9 months online as a coach, I want you to take a step backwards, okay, the same way that Tiger Woods once upon a time was the #1 golfer in the world, and then he went and recreated his swing. Because he said, look, I'm not competing against the other golfers, I'm competing against myself. In order for me to get better, there's some adjustments I need to make in my swing. He's the #1 golfer in the world, and he went and changed his swing. Think about the insanity of that for most. I challenge you to go back into the boardroom and adjust your swing in terms of how you legitimately feel about how you can help these coaching clients. And the good news there, guys, is on a physical level, that's going to make you run to the computer, run to the phone, run to the chamber, run to the accountant to sort out these deals and get these coaching clients done, okay? The next thing I want to go over is, here's what I find. I get over 500 coaches in 23 countries that work one-on-one with my company, okay? And what I find is that if I line them up and I just take the average, they basically produce, like if they've got 10 coaching clients, 2 clients are going to the moon, 4 are not doing a heck of a lot, and then 4, so what does that leave me? We got 4 not doing a lot, we got 2 going to the moon, and then we've got 4, ignoring some phone calls, and 1's asking for the money back, right? But we got 2 going to the moon. What's the difference between the 2 and then the other 8? The 2 are taking the calls, they're showing up, they're deploying, they're getting it on an emotional level, they're getting on a physical level, and then they're actually doing it. So my question is, when you are asked, about your coaching and the results that you provide, do you water down the results and kind of give them an average and say, well, look, if you actually bloody well do something, you get these great results. But if you don't do anything, magically you don't get the results. Well, let me give you an example. Let's say that we're going to walk onto the car lot and we're going to buy a car. Okay, and then imagine the car salesman says, well, look, this Ford Mustang is great, but look, I got a 17-year-old, and he takes the damn car, he goes to the nearest parking lot, he does brake stands, and he goes around in circles and impresses his buddies. So the fuel mileage is absolutely terrible. The tires, I got to replace them every 3 or 6 months because he's doing the damn brake stands. The doors got dents in it because he's banging into everything because he's a terrible driver and he's 17 and he's just doing what 17-year-olds do. Could you imagine the salesman saying that? Okay, or you walk in to buy a toaster and they say, well, look, as long as you don't take a fork and shove it into the element here, look, this toaster should last a long time. Clearly, they'd never do that. And then I want you to picture the marketing collateral and the material that they give you to discuss, to explain the benefits, features, advantages, and benefits of buying the Mustang, buying the toaster, buying the TV. Obviously, what they do is they present the best case scenario possible. Okay, so that's what you need to be doing with your coaching. You've got to start presenting the scenario with the 2 clients that are going to the moon and transforming their lives, as opposed to watering down those results with the other 8 that aren't taking on your phone calls and not doing the darn work that you're agreeing to do with them, right? So with that being said, here's one, internally what we've got, here's one of our scripts. And in fact, this is a script that took my coaching practice to the moon, is I would originally say, my name's Karl, I'm a business coach, and I help you take your business to another level. Okay, I'd be at a networking function, okay, and I would deliver that, and then there'd be a break, and I'd be standing by myself, and everybody would be ignoring me, very, very obviously and consciously avoiding me, right? And I'm guessing if you're a business coach, or you're a coach, and you've gone to those meetings, you've experienced that as well. Well, I changed my elevator pitch to this, and I literally transformed my sales conversions immediately, and I had to hire coaches to look after everybody on the back end. And my new pitch was this: my name is Karl Bryan. I do 45-minute turnarounds. I guarantee to find any small business owner $10,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Boom. Now, the only problem you now have if you're at a networking function is that if you have to go take a pee, you're not going to be able to get past everybody because they're trying to grab your business card and trying to put theirs in your hand, okay? So again, one little slight adjustment. But with our coaches, I say, look, here's your new elevator pitch. Go deliver it. Guess what they do? Deer in headlights. How the heck am I going to do that? Well, the good news is that after doing our training, in fact, about 2.5 hours into our 10 hours of initial training, basically you won't be able to find $10,000 in 45 minutes for any business owner without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. You'll be able to find $100,000 in 15 minutes. We see it time and time again, and you guys will be no different because it's all in the training, it's all in the process, and it's all step by step. But again, I tell you that with your coaching, when you get the opportunity to pitch it, and when you're talking to prospective clients, I want you to really rev it up, and I want you to position the absolute best case scenario. Get the client, charge them $1,000 a month. If you do a terrible job or you're a little bit over your head, guess what? You give them the money back. Okay, so it's not like, this stuff doesn't need to be signed with blood, and we don't need to take passports at the, coaching client application process, right? You're human. You're going to grow. You're going to improve. So go out there and pitch yourself at a very, very high level as opposed to water down your results, okay? Now, also, I want to introduce you to a concept that I teach called buying coaching clients. And guys, if you haven't worked it out, just before we get going into the online stuff, what I want to do is I want to walk you through some concepts that we've got. And so if I was a new business coach, it'd be like, what are some of the concepts and what are the things that I want you to deliver to me as I got going? Or one of my kids, you deliver this to one of them to get them started as a business coach. I'd like them to understand these concepts, okay? The next one, buying business coaching clients, okay? Buying coaching clients, I call it. So imagine this, guys. Wherever you are in the world, you got 20 bucks in your wallet, okay, or I'll assume so, and if you don't, let's pretend you got a $20 note sitting in your wallet. And now I'm going to say, look, can you go get me some milk and some bread? Okay, milk's going to cost you what? $4, and then the bread's going to cost you $3. So you got 7. You'll have $13 left over. Could we all agree that within 30 minutes you could all jump in your car, call a taxi, jump on a bus, get to the closest 7-Eleven or supermarket, grab the bread, grab the milk, come back, and you could have the bread and the milk within 30 minutes, boom, delivered to your doorstep. We could all do that, correct? Buying coaching clients. What if I could make it that easy for you to get coaching clients? Okay, well, let me explain. So I walk in, here's what most coaches do. They walk in, or at least this is from my experience, and by the way, this is what I used to do. You guys can decide what you're doing, but I think this is probably the average. We go into the coaching, we go into the accountant's office. We say, look, I'm a business coach, and what I'd like to do is I would like you to send me coaching clients, because you see, I really need coaching clients, which is really paraphrasing, but that's really what you're saying here. And you say, look, if you send me 3 clients, I'll charge them $1,000 a month. I'll give you a 20% affiliate fee each month, and I'll pay you when they start paying me for as long as they pay me, and when they stop paying me, I'm going to stop paying you. So if it's $1,000 a month and 20%, that's $600 a month I'm going to send your way, and you're not going to have to do much more than an introduction. Magically, guess what? The coach comes back and says, geez, Carl, I pitched this to 7, 8, 9, 10 accountants, and nobody's gone for it. These all guys pretend like they're interested. They kind of act interested. But when it comes time to send the email, when it comes time to send the clients, magically they don't. Let me tell you why. Your offer sucks, okay? My 17-year-old could come up with an offer that looks like that one. Okay, here's what I do, and here's what I've done very, very successfully, and so have my coaches. I walk into the accountant's office, and I say, here's what I'd like to do. I want to sign up coaching clients underneath your accounting practice, okay? How much do you charge on average your your accounting clients? He says $2,000. I say, well, look, I want to help you turn 2,000 into 4,000, and instead of getting together with your clients once a year, I want you to start getting together with them 4 times a year at a minimum, and in some cases 12 times a year every month, which will probably quadruple, if not multiply by 10, the amount that you're now charging them. So instead of charging them $2,000, you're going to start charging them like $4,000 to $10,000. Okay, the accountant likes the sound of this, and this is what he's used to, and this is what his business model is, created on. And then I say, well, look, I'm also going to pay you $1,000 per client you send me. Okay, so if you send me 3 coaching clients, I'm going to pay you $3,000. If you send me 6, I'm going to pay you $6,000. But what I'd like to do is this: I'd like to pay you $1,000 today on the agreement, and a gentleman's, shake of the hand and a gentleman's agreement's enough. I want to pay you $1,000 today to show you that I'm serious and I want to get going. Okay, guess what now happens? Now the guy sees that you're for real, and he either accepts your check and shakes your hand, or he doesn't accept your check, and now the coaching clients aren't coming, and you go to his competition, or you go down the road, or you just simply call another accounting firm. Okay, or what you do is you go to the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, and I wouldn't necessarily go to the board, the chairman of the board of the chamber. What about the salespeople and the people that deal with the members and the small business owners on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Like, they're the ones that invite them to the events, and they're the ones that invite the speakers to come and do the events and this sort of thing. Well, I go to the girls that work at the chamber, and I give them similar pitch to the accountant. I say, look, I want to be able to help these guys because nobody buys a membership to the chamber. They're really trying to they're trying to buy a better business. They're trying to buy themselves into a community. They're trying to buy themselves some referrals. They're trying to buy themselves some ideas and some lead generation to become a part of the group, right? So I say, well, look, this is what these people are looking to achieve, and what I do is I help business owners generate more leads and get more coaching or get more clients. So here's what I would like to do. These guys make about $30,000 a year. I say to the girl, look, if there's somebody who comes to you and they're asking you for some help, or they're looking for a little bit of guidance, write them a $1,000 check on the spot and say, look, with the shake of a hand, send me a coaching client. I'll look after them. And by the way, when you send me a coaching client, I'm going to give them a money-back guarantee. Okay, every month that I work with them, month after month, like month 1 is $1,000. If they want their money back, I give it back to them. Month 2 is $2,000. If they want their money back in that month, I'll give them back that $1,000. In month 3, in month 4, like, in other words, I'm making it incredibly easy for the girls at the chamber, the accountant, the networking organization, the business broker to feel very, very comfortable that I'm going to look after them, and I'm going to be able to provide them the direction and that sort of stuff. Okay? So the nuts and bolts of it, imagine if you had a system that was that powerful that you could literally just show up. And I'm telling you guys, what I just described, I have done it at an incredibly high level. You guys can do the same thing. Oh, and by the way, here's another thing what I did. I went to Seattle, never done business in Seattle in my life. I put 60 people in a room that only fit 40 people, by the way, so we were literally oversold, and we had to bring, like spare chairs in at the last second because we didn't think everybody would show up, but most of the people showed up in 4 days. How did I do it? I went to the same people that I just described. I said, look, I'm going to pay somebody 10, like I need 10 more people to fill my room. You don't want to say you got 60 seats and you just need 10, you're going to find 6 different people. It's not as powerful and there's not an inbuilt takeaway. So what you do is you go to the guy and say, look, I need 10 more people to fill my event. I'm going to pay somebody $1,000 to send me 10 people. They don't need to buy anything. They don't need to do anything apart from show up. Well, I put 60 people in a room. One guy brought like 25 people. The nuts and bolts of it, it ended up costing me a few $1,000s to put on the event, but I would have spent that in direct mail and advertising on the internet anyways, and it was guaranteed results. Okay, so again, if you're looking to fill events, that buying of the coaching clients can work also. Okay, so anyways, guys, moving on. Mistakes coaches make online and ones I don't want you to make. Joining coaching groups. Coaches, for whatever reason, always want to hang out with coaches. Well, guess what? Start hanging out with small business owners. If you want to go to realtors, hang out on realtor sites. If you want to go to mortgage brokers, go to mortgage broking sites. If you want to go to butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, those are the groups, those are the websites, those are the blogs, that's the area, those are the events and the trade shows that you want to be going to. Okay, so don't join a bunch of groups and hang out with a bunch of coaches and then say, oh, but I'm learning from all of them. But that's great. Then join one, maybe join 2. But that's it. Put a line through it. Now start joining your target market, and this is where you get some practice and you start engaging on social media and that sort of stuff. Do it all versus totally dominate one thing. A little bit on Facebook, a little bit on LinkedIn, a little bit on my blog, a little bit here, a little bit there. Totally dominate one thing. Like Dan Kennedy, those of you that follow Dan Kennedy, who's, he's like kind of a godfather of what we're all on the phone talking about here, if you don't know who he is. Basically, he has the #1 membership group on the planet. Right, incredible. Tony Robbins, he had his infomercials, right? So you're going to have the #1 teleseminar. You're going to have the #1 webinar. You're going to have the largest LinkedIn group of realtors. You're going to have the #1 Facebook group for mortgage brokers. I want you to come up, what's the one thing you're going to dominate? Like Luke mentioned earlier, I've got one advertising campaign on LinkedIn that's done over $1 million. I don't have like a Facebook one that's done okay, and then this one, that one. We concentrated on LinkedIn, we tested, we measured, we split tested everything, and then boom, not surprisingly, the results started to improve, and now it's an incredibly successful campaign, over $1 million recurring revenue. 2 passive online, 2 techie. Like what's it called? Social media and social networking. What's the common word? Social, okay? So you got to go here. Don't be like an IT nerd. Definitely, like often what we do is we hire an IT nerd to be like our social media guy. That's not a good idea. Social. Be funny. Talk about your kids. Build rapport. Don't just go to them and say, look, I'm going to try. You don't want to try and sell too early. Gary Vaynerchuk's written a wicked book. If you haven't read it and you're really into working out this online thing, it's called Jab, 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 Left Hook. Okay, what that means is value, 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 sell. Value, 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 sell. Okay, but again, and in there, building rapport, talking about your kids, talking about your life, talking about some results, posting some testimonials. But don't get all techie, and you definitely don't want a nerd doing this. Spend time looking for organic traffic. Not going to spend any time on that one. I just got to tell you that Google changed their mind every 15 minutes. So if you go and put all this time and effort into getting your organic search done properly, and then Google changed their mind, you're down on page 4 overnight. Nothing you can do about it, and you get another 18 months to get back. Not partnering with folks that are up with the testing, up and testing ninja tricks, okay? So like we've got like LinkedIn software. Okay, so picture this. Let's say you're a coach and you want to get, like, let's go with those 45-minute turnarounds that I mentioned earlier, whatever, cash and clients, whatever you want to call like a sales and marketing audit, sales and marketing get together, just an online chat. And you want to get some appointments. Well, we've got LinkedIn software that will literally send 100 messages. You don't lift a finger. It just happens automatically. You say, I want realtors in California. I want realtors in Australia. I want realtors in South Africa. I want mortgage brokers here. Again, I want butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. You tick a few boxes, okay, in different areas, or globally. If you want to target Asia, you target Asia, okay? And what will happen is the software will go and send them a private message, 100 of them every single day. And then a bit of the magic, if you've ever noticed on LinkedIn, it's very important that somebody, like if you see that I've viewed your profile and then I send you a message, that message has 10 times the likelihood of getting replied to than if you just send me, especially a very boring kind of templated message that's obvious. You definitely want to avoid those. You got to put a bit of personality into your copy, which is easy to do. Okay, but the LinkedIn software will literally send 100 messages and it will view those profiles as well. So again, the likelihood of you getting a response, imagine if you sent 100 messages every single day. Okay, boom, you'd be in a completely different position than you are today. All right, so boom, so we can introduce you to that stuff. Promote your company, huge one. Nobody gives a stuff about the name of your company, okay? Here's what you promote online. Here's what you promote, period. Products, programs, events. And look at the name of this webinar. It's not, Karl's company XYZ. Nobody cares about that. It's Karl's running a webinar, how I earned $187,000 in my first 9 months online as a coach. Okay, and by the way, there's also incredible power in the name of the webinar that I would encourage you guys to reverse engineer and come up with something really clever for yourself. But at the end of the day, don't promote the name of your company. It's like the NFL. Are they running around promoting the NFL? No, they're talking, it's all about Tom Brady, and then it was Johnny Football a couple years ago, and then it's, Andrew Luck there for a while, and it's going to be somebody else next year. Basically, they're promoting their players. They're promoting the games. They're promoting the overseas game in England, and definitely the Super Bowl. These are like events. These are the players are like products. Okay, the programs are like teams, and then the events are the games and the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Okay, you need to be doing the same thing. Don't go online and worry about mentioning your company and mentioning yourself. It's all about your programs, and the more clever. And again, think about the name of this webinar. And I have another one, I put 20,000 coaches through an online membership where I had, how I earned $187,000 in my first 9 months online as the coach was the first one. And then I followed it up with how I generated 250 hot new coaching leads in 90 days using Google. Okay, once again, pretty, presumably those names, if you're a business coach and then you hear that, the likelihood of you wanting to attend are really, really good. Okay, so that's what you need to be promoting as well. Take some time, go into the mud hut, take a step backwards and take many forward to come up with really clever names for your stuff. Make it more complicated than necessary. Look, the internet, generating leads on the internet consists of this: buying advertising, getting joint venture partners to send material out for you, social media, and SEO. Okay, those 4 things. Okay, so do those 4 things and basically you got it. So I come back to the CEP where it's not going to be that complicated for you guys to take your first step and to get yourself into a trot, a jog, and potentially run with this thing. But don't make it overcomplicated, and don't tell yourself, oh, I'm too old. Oh, I'm not tech savvy enough. Oh, I don't have any money. Oh, I'm not experienced enough. Oh, I'm too young. Don't start telling yourself those stories, or that becomes your reality, that becomes your story, and that's what's going to stop you from taking the step forward. You got to beat that out of yourself. This one's big. Sell service like time over a product. If you want to do, I've built 3 7-figure coaching companies from a standing start. If you want to do that, you've got to be product over service. Okay, so don't run around selling your time, because that's the one thing that you're going to run out of very, very quickly. I teach a concept. There's time for money, and then there's time for credibility. See, time, everybody bitches and moans about the time for money, including me, by the way, and definitely back in, my more, traditional coaching role. But it was really, I used to teach my coaches time for credibility. I had to sell my time for credibility to get the attention of the accountant, to convince him to send it out, for him to accept my $1,000 upfront payment, for him to send out an email and bring people to my webinar, bring people to my seminar. It's like the time for credibility will kill you. The time for money, at least you're darn well getting paid, right? And by the way, which one do you have to be better at? You got to be really, really good at selling the time for credibility so that you can get the honor to sit down and sell the time for money. Think of it that way. But the bottom line is that you don't want to just be handing out your time willy-nilly. You got to really protect that stuff, okay? So now I bring you to this. I really want you to be thinking, do you guys think about your to-do list, okay? Every single one of you on this call, at some stage or another, probably very recently, you've written your to-do list, okay? Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances that A, you got through it, and B, you had any chance of getting through it? And the chances are 0, and the likelihood is less than 0. Okay, you didn't get through your to-do list. I didn't get through mine, and your business coaching clients are not getting through theirs. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to start your day and come out with the outcome. What is it? You want to get 3 blog posts out? You want to get your advertising campaign done up on LinkedIn? You want to spice up your LinkedIn profile? I want you to think before the day starts, what's the outcome that we're looking to achieve, and I want you to start from there. A good example that I give is every morning I wake up and I jump on my rowing machine, okay, which conveniently lives in my office, okay? Well, most people, what they do is they jump on their rowing machine and they jump on their Stairmaster, and then they set it at, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and they go to the end, they jump off, and then they go, which is totally fine, by the way. But I believe that's a very time-based activity. So what I do is I set, I want to do 300 calories every single morning, okay? So I jump on 300 calories is my goal. If I go really fast and I go hard, guess what? I can shave myself 3, 4, as much as 5 minutes. If I go really slow, guess what? I'm going to add 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And on some days, that's absolutely fine, and I don't mind because I feel like taking it easy. Other days, I've got an appointment or I'm just feeling revved up. I just want to get this over with. I want to get into the day. I want to go quickly. But you see how it's very much outcome-based as opposed to activity-based, and definitely not time-based is what I would encourage you to discourage you from going with, okay? And those to-do lists, I want you to rip them up, throw them out the office door, throw them in the bin, and I want you to become completely outcome-based. At the beginning of the day, you make a list of 3 things that you want to accomplish, okay? So as an example here, guys, let me talk to you about being online, because the mistake that we make online is we just sort of go at it willy-nilly and at 100 miles an hour, okay? So what do you really want to achieve online? Okay, is your goal preeminence and to become like a little bit of a local celebrity? Is your goal to fill an event? Is your goal to fill a local seminar? Is your goal to fill a webinar? Is it to get the accountant's attention? What is it that you want to use the internet for? Is it to get a couple coaching clients? Is it to close somebody this week? I want you to take a couple minutes in your office, and I want to write down what is it that you're looking to achieve. And by the way, it's going to be different for you than it is for me, than it is for Luke, and then somebody else. Okay, so what do I really want to achieve online? I want you to start with this. Now, how will it change things for my business, and in some cases, more importantly, my clients' businesses? Okay, so if you achieve this goal of preeminence, of celebrity, you fill the event, you put 100 people in a room, you get that big joint venture, elephant, and you get him signed, and all of a sudden he's promoting the crap out of you. Okay, what would that mean? And then again, what would it mean for your clients, your prospective clients? What's it going to mean for the people that show up to the webinar, that show up to the seminar, that show up to the lunch and learn, that start receiving your emails? Okay, you're trying to build a list. You want to build a list of 10,000 realtors. Okay, again, how would that change the lives of those realtors? And then how would it change the function of your business? What am I willing to sacrifice to get it? And by the way, this is if anything, because some folks, you know what, they got 3 kids, all under the age of 5. There's only a certain amount of time, a certain amount of effort, a certain amount of resources they're willing to allocate to this. So maybe that's nothing, but that's probably, you wouldn't be on this webinar, I wouldn't think, if you weren't willing to sacrifice something to make your online outcome come true. So my question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to wake up at 6 a.m.? If you already wake up at 6 a.m., you're willing to wake up at 5 a.m.? Are you willing to make a bit of an ass on yourself online, knowing that in 3 months' time you'll be really good at this stuff? So even if you screw things up and the landing page doesn't quite work, and you forget to put the the phone number in the ad, or you forget to put the link in the ad, are you willing to just cop it on the chin and accept that, look, this is just part of learning. This is the evolution of my online journey, and if I look like an ass, I look like an ass, but in 3 months they won't be laughing anymore. Okay, but what am I willing to sacrifice to get it? Write that down for me. And if you're driving in your car, or you're not somewhere you can write it down, I just want you to think of what that would be. And tell me this, what's going to prevent you from having it? What's going to prevent you from achieving this outcome online? Okay, is it going to be your lack of skills? Okay, you got to go hire a 16-year-old. You know how incredibly talented 16-year-olds can be nowadays on the computer? Okay, again, are you, what's going to prevent you? Your fear of the camera. You got to do some online videos. Okay, so Is that what's going to, is it going to, and by the way, it's almost always going to come back to a fear. We got all coaches on the line, so you guys know where that comes from, but what's going to, prevent you from having it? Super importantly, how often as you accomplish something and then all you do is move the goalpost once you actually got there, so you never took a time to pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hand, acknowledge it, allow yourself to go have a couple extra beers or a couple extra glasses of wine, give your hubby or your business partner a big hug and say, you know what, we did it, and acknowledge it. And let's face it, if you guys are honest with yourself, and again, if you're 95% of the population and you're talking to one of the 95% here, I'm a guy that I'm constant. I'll beat the crap out of myself when I screw something up, but be darned if I'll ever give myself credit for something I've actually accomplished. Okay, so again, here's the good news though, if we can create the goalpost, like, the running back in a football game doesn't celebrate when he gets the first down for the most part, but what happens when he gets in the end zone? So I want you to come up with your end zone dance, and I want you to come up with something that you can achieve online, like your first inquiry through LinkedIn, your first member on your Facebook group, where you can actually take the time, pat yourself on the back, and say, look, I accomplished what I set out to accomplish. And that 1 will become 3, which will become 7, which will become 70 over time as you continue, if you're prepared to make a bit of an ass of yourself and learn as you go, okay? But again, so my question is, how are you going to know when you've achieved your outcome? And let's make sure that you're not the 95%, you become the 5 that pats yourself on the back and acknowledges it. Can't begin to tell you how important that concept is, guys. So here's what I want you to, the most powerful marketing force on the internet. Real quick, guys, the top 4 trending searches last year, Nelson Mandela, Paul Walker, iPhone, and Corey Monteith. This is the guy, the Glee star that overdosed, okay? Now, the top obsessions, Miley Cyrus, twerking, Duck Dynasty, and The Walking Dead, for whatever reason, but hey, these are the types of obsessions on the internet. So my question for you is, what do all of these, outside of one, which is the iPhone, have in common? Okay, just have a look at them for a second. What do these all have in common? Nelson Mandela, Paul Walker, Corey, Miley, Duck Dynasty, The Walking Dead. Okay, the answer is celebrity. Okay, we have an unhealthy, obsession with celebrity in the society. So here's the good news, though. You can fight it or you can profit from it. It's really easy for you to become a local celebrity, but really, just so that you guys don't feel like I'm trying to turn you into Tom Cruise, whether you like Tom or not or whatever, but what I want you to be thinking about is how can we do that? But I want you to water that down a little bit, and all we got to do is make you the preeminent one. We got to make you the go-to expert. How would we go about doing that? Remember, Steve Jobs, he was not a celebrity, right? Bill Gates, Mother Teresa, Einstein, these guys are not celebrities. They're authorities. They've got preeminence. They are experts. You become an expert, and really good things can happen. How do you go about doing that? Well, here's some ideas, and this is what you can do. You get some books, articles. You got to speak on a regular basis. Do you know how you get speaking gigs regularly? You get out there and you offer to do them. Okay, I get so many professional speakers in my network, and these guys don't do any speaking. They complain about it, but they don't do anything about it. On a physical level, they don't go and take the next step. If you can speak on a regular basis, guys, your coaching clients, you won't have to worry about lead generation. You won't have to worry about the internet, quite frankly. You're just going to have people coming to you left, right, and center to say, can you help me do what you just talked about? Okay, endorsed by the chamber, okay, or the equivalent, the board of trade, whatever it might be. Get active locally. Press releases. Guys, get press release. We sent out a press release. We got it noted over 500 times. Keep in mind that, it was a professionally done press release and whatnot. We got it on ABC and NBC, and, everybody picked it up. I mean, it was very well done, but this is the kind of stuff that you can do too. We're not celebrities by any stretch of the imagination. We just put out good content with a bit of a storyline, a bit of an angle, and good things happened, okay? By endorsement. I sort of mentioned, go to the accountant and say, look, here's $1,000, send out an email and tell everybody how good I am and what I'm up to and when my event is. Okay, the accountants a lot of the time are struggling, just like you and I are struggling financially, they're struggling financially, right? So again, go to these guys and say, look, here's $1,000. Create a paid membership. Guys, you got to get a bit of a paid following. You definitely need to get a membership going, and ideally folks that are just paying you $100 to $200 a month. Okay, you've got to get that. You can turn that around, and incredible things start to happen as a result of it. Okay, but anyway, so the good news here, guys, is this is the most powerful force on the internet, bar none. Okay, so you say, okay, well, I want to start driving traffic. I want to start getting some of this attention, Karl. How am I going to do it? And once again, I told you this is not all that complicated, and I don't want you to be thinking of it as that. So your website, real obvious. Your Facebook page. You got to take some time and get some really good verbiage on your Facebook page. Like, how about I do 45-minute turnarounds where I guarantee to find any small business owner $10,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. You got to make sure that you've got some offers, you've got some compelling language. Don't, I go to your Facebook page and I bet I'm probably going to see the word transform or transformational, right? It's what all coaches are doing and using. Use something outside of the box. You got to get these people out of state. You got to get them in a, position where what they read suddenly jerks them a little bit. Your Twitter profile. I got 28,000 people that follow me on Twitter. A pop quiz, a blog, video, and you can get a video blog, a survey, articles, news story, email, LinkedIn message, and a Facebook message. So you're just taking direct messages. So again, how do you drive traffic? You send me a LinkedIn message with a link to say, go to my event, go to my landing page, go to this page where I'm accepting applications to do these 45-minute turnarounds where I'll find you 10 grand in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Okay, so now on these, you want to then capture email. You guys all know you need to build a list. So effectively, you want to qualify these folks. Okay, so what tools are out there? Here's the good news. There's very limited of them. You got a squeeze page. Remember, you don't want to have a website. You want to be sending traffic to squeeze pages. A squeeze page is, look at the app, like you go to focus.com and see where you applied for this event. There was no option to do anything except either exit, okay, and disappear, or put your name and email address in the box. Okay, that's what you got to have. Not a website, but a squeeze page. A pop-up, a squeeze pop-up. So a squeeze pop-up, takes your name and email address. Free plus shipping, webinar registration, a free month of coaching, an exit pop-up. Say now you're trying to leave, and I say, hey, before you leave, do you want to do X, Y, Z? You guys have all, visited websites, and I know, you can, as I bring these up, you guys can picture them. The good news is there's very limited of them, and you don't need to go and learn 100 new skills and 100 new applications on the internet. And remember, the outcome should always be recurring income and a membership. Okay, you've got to find a way. Like you just talk about the outcome that you're looking for, and you talk about the railroad tracks, and you talk about the physical thing that you want to embody, own, and decide that you're going to do today. Decide that you're going to build an online membership, okay, and good things will happen at the other end, because when you've got people paying you a monthly fee and they're paying to get your emails and they're paying to get access to your videos, magically they spend more money, they listen to what you say, they follow you like they're like dogs, dogs, it's a horrible thing to say, but you tell them to sit and they will sit as a function of them paying you, but when they're on a free list, they won't have nearly the discipline that you've got the other way, okay, just like your little puppy. Okay, I want to reword that, get it properly. Okay, so, but basically, that is, that's what you want to have, okay? So those are the ways. So now you want to drive traffic, but it's not that easy because you can drive traffic and then not convert it, okay? So you need to have a USP or a big idea, okay? These are a little bit off, but if you want to drive traffic, you need this, real simple. Takes coaching clients out of state. What do I mean by that? Okay, so do you guys remember, I want you to remember 9/11, and I want you to think, I don't even need to say anything else, but you guys know exactly where you were standing, you know who you were with, you can remember the feeling that you had as that plane hit the second tower, correct or incorrect? Okay, I'm probably correct 100% of the time here on the phone. Well, why is that? How about when Michael Jackson died? Okay, if you're a Michael Jackson fan of any description, you know exactly where you were, you know who told you, you know where you're standing, you can go directly back into that moment. Okay, if you're a little bit over, maybe when Elvis passed away. Okay, so what does that mean? When your clients read your marketing message or your big idea, when they read your script, when they go to your landing page, how I earned $187,000 in my first 9 months online as a coach, as an example, my goal when I write that, when I come up with it and I put those words together, is that I say, when you read this, I want to get you out of state. Okay, so And effectively, it's your position against the competition. So let's say that I'm a coach, and then you're a coach that goes specifically to chiropractors. Will that be your position against me? Okay, and again, if you want to get traffic on the internet, you need to have this. You've got to have this language, and traffic is one thing, but conversion is a whole nother. And I want you to think back to my campaign. It's like Luke talks about like a LinkedIn campaign that I've got that brought in over $1 million. Okay, what we don't talk about, and we haven't talked about, is how much it cost me to build that ad campaign and to test and measure, and how much money that I smoked buying advertising in order to get it right. Okay, so again, this is not something you'll necessarily come up with in one, but it's something you need to play with. It says if this is your problem, you'd be an idiot not to work with me. So I'm the general of new business for local chiropractors. Okay, so again, you got to have your, if this is your problem, you want to earn some money, I'm going to help you find 10 grand in 45 minutes. Identify a major hot button your small business owners have and that you represent. Okay, like lead generation would be the number one. On this, you guys are trying to, again, I got 100 coaches that I line up. About 80% of them, if not 95, say, I want two things, Karl. I want to be able to use the internet to generate leads, and I want to be able to use the internet to coach so I'm not selling so much time for money. Okay, would you guys agree that I just hit your hot buttons? And I haven't hit 100 of, like if there's 100 of you on here, I haven't hit 100 of you, but I've probably hit 80, and probably I would be willing to bet I'm over 90. Okay, if those are your hot buttons, then I nailed it. So when you go to my landing page, when you listen to my guided tour, when you read my emails that follow up as a drip campaign, those are the types of words that I'm going to use, and I'm taking that conversation inside your head, I'm putting it on a piece of paper, and the results are good. And this started Tony Robbins' career, guys. This literally started his career. You guys don't know, he's in Vancouver, and he basically came out and said, this is very early on, right? And he said, look, I will cure any phobia right here, standing in front of me with a live audience. I will get inside a boxing ring. They will walk up on stage, and I will cure any phobia, guaranteed, no questions asked, money back guarantee. Boom, come to my event. Okay, well, he had radio, stations calling him up. He was getting interviewed on TV, interviewed on the radio. He had psychiatrists going absolutely friggin' nuts, saying, this guy is full of crap. He is a charlatan. This is crap. And the more they yelled and screamed, right, well, the more attention he got, and the more full, the room went from, to basically 100 people to 1,000 people to having to find another venue. People showed up, and this is what literally started his career. I used to do a presentation where I guaranteed to solve any marketing problem on the spot. So I would literally go up on stage, have a room of 100 people, and I guaranteed to, solve any marketing problem on the spot. By the way, guys, the first time I did it and I walked up on stage, do you think I was crapping my pants? Do you know how poorly that could have gone potentially for a reasonably young Karl? Okay, without, I don't know that I had the experience. I mean, I guess I did, because I pulled it off and I never had a problem, and I've done multiple of them. But I tell you what, guys, I was crapping my pants. So, and by the way, how did I come up with that idea? I heard about Tony Robbins, and then I did that. My question for you, forget me, forget Tony, what are you going to do? Right, so what's your presentation? How are you going to get some attention online? And remember, Tony Robbins, that was the days of radio and TV. If he had did that exact same dynamic today, could you imagine the social media world? He wouldn't have had 1,000 people there. He would have had 10,000 people there if he could fit them. Okay, that's the magic of the internet. That's the beauty of what's going on. Tony Robbins used to fill, seminars with 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people. His most recent one in California had 9,000 people. So Tony Robbins, the internet now allows you to get out to so many more people. It works for Tony, and it can also work for you. And by the way, most of you, all you're looking for are 15 clients at $1,000 a month. That's $15,000 a month of recurring coaching income. Okay, so again, it's not that hard, guys. Okay, so, and guys, by the way, on that note, and I see a couple questions here. A few of you guys need to take off. In fact, I want to go over one. I'm just going to elaborate here a little bit on USP, but here's the scoop, guys. I've got an online coaching system. Everything that I'm showing you here, you don't want to sell time for money. You want to have a step-by-step weekly 52-week curriculum that walks every business owner through, including yourself for that matter, but walks them through a step-by-step roadmap on how to completely transform their company and take their marketing, their profitability, and back clients to a level and heights that was unprecedented. We've built that curriculum, and we can put your picture, your name, your brand on it, And like Luke said, what we're doing is the first 25 folks that apply, and I'm going to tell you truthfully, guys, over 200 people enrolled in the webinar, okay? So, like, believe me, we're not going to have a shortage of people that want to take us up on this offer. All you've got to do is you got to go to coachingclientsnow.com, okay, coachingclientsnow.com, and basically grab a time on my calendar, and we'll get together one-to-one, and you can, again, we'll go back and forth and talk a little bit about your coaching company. I can help you with all kinds of strategies to drive traffic on the internet, and we'll also talk about you being able to get a hold of that membership, because recurring income is what coaching is all about. You've got to have product. You can't be service. And without question, without exception, this is the #1 business coaching platform on the planet. It just is. It's mine, so what else would I say? But that's absolutely the case. And like Dan Kennedy, you know, all of Dan Kennedy's top guys are my clients and have been for a number of years, okay? So again, feel very, very comfortable that if you were to put your brand and put your picture on it, you'd be, you know, you'd be doing yourself a massive service. We spent over $1 million and taken 7 years to build this thing, okay? And by the way, a lot of the big-time gurus that you know, and you see their membership program, and you see, you know, their emails and whatnot, you don't realize it, but that's my content, and they're like basically they're using my stuff. So again, we have some very high-level coaches around the world that are using the stuff that you're probably reading and, you know, using, potentially paying for on a regular basis. But again, you don't even realize it, but you've got the opportunity to have that same content. Okay, so if you guys want that opportunity, and in fact, Luke, if I could just get you to put that in the chat box, coachingclientsnow.com. So if you guys want to get together one-to-one, we can go through all this stuff, talk about driving traffic on the internet, getting you know, unprecedented attention online, and then most importantly, being able to build up some recurring revenue for yourself. Help you get 100 people at $100 a month. That's $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year on the internet without you having to lift a finger. Okay, so that opportunity, coachingclientsnow.com. The reason I went through that, I can see some of the questions coming through, and a few folks have to leave early. So look, that's the opportunity for you guys. Okay. On that note, look,
I just put that in, Karl. Sorry, just for those listening, I put it in the chat. And you know, if you do get the chance to get on the call, I highly recommend taking Karl up on his offer. I think just, Karl, quickly, one of the biggest benefits that I just wanted to really clearly communicate, if you are interested with speaking with Karl, is just him going through his membership platform and showing you how, you know, he can help create a complete membership site for you to get that recurring revenue income. I think that's the biggest benefit, is his company does that membership site all for you. It's completely done for you. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you want to be one of the only 25 to get on the call, do that now. Thanks, Karl.
Beautiful. Thanks, Luke. And again, appreciate that, guys. And yeah, like you said, and you want to pick a niche, which I'm going to get to in a sec, but we've already built, we got 120 different categories of business. The entire marketing turnkey and niche is already built out for you. So you just got to pick the niche that you want to go to, and we've already built all the marketing collateral, the scripts, the, you know, the free report, all that sort of stuff. It's done. So it's pretty cool, guys. But again, let me keep moving. Most importantly, guys, you've got to be able to get attention on the internet. One of the ways you do that, the unique selling proposition, the quote-unquote big idea, you got to have one of those. So let me give you a few ideas of some unique selling propositions. So you're going to go to an industry, you're going to become the chiropractor coach, the dentist coach, the restaurant coach. I know for a fact a lot of you guys, you're on here, you're a business coach, and you're saying, I should niche, I should niche, I should niche, and you've never managed to niche, okay? You've got to, okay? The less you do, the more you'll become, okay? Positioning, become the mental toughness coach, build greatness, you know, take my platform and call it greatnessuniversity.com. Boom, okay, that's absolutely positioning. Okay, referrals, the referral master, that referral guy. A couple of my clients, Jeff Kirkwood, if you're in Australia, you would have heard of him. Used to own BNI Australia, was a client of mine a long time, love the man. That referral guy happens to be his son, Glenn Kirkwood, also a client of mine, been a client for over, I think, 6 years now, but the nuts and bolts of it. Position yourself along those lines. A business broker, imagine this, your business will be sold in 365 days guaranteed, ... or I'll buy it. You start positioning yourself that way online, do you think you might all of a sudden get a little bit of viral activity? Do you think you might get a few more referrals? Preeminence. Drop me in any city with my driver's license at $100 on Monday. By Friday, I will have 3 coaching clients at $1,500 a month. You guys would recognize the first one I just went through with the 365 guaranteed from like, you know, realtors use that once in a while. If I don't sell your house in 90 days, I'll buy it from you. Okay, boom, just leverage that. Preeminence. Robert Allen had a promotion where he said, drop me in any city and he would do X, Y, Z, drop me in any city with my driver's license. This is basically a play on that, on Robert Allen's, okay? Contingency, only coach in Vancouver, just insert your city, your only coach in Vancouver that works off 7% of your profits. Okay, you wouldn't put plus hard costs. I just put that there to make you feel more comfortable, because here's how it works. I charge $1,000 a month, let's say hypothetically, and my hard cost to run my family and my kids and get them to school and, you know, pay for gymnastics and that sort of stuff, you know, it costs me 10 grand a month. Okay, so that's 120 grand a year. So I have got to make 120 grand a year to provide for my family and make sure everybody can eat. So you got to pay my hard costs of $1,000, but I tell you this after you respond and we get together. You got to pay my $1,000 a month, and then I make my real money on the 7% contingency. Because again, there's lots of coaches, like guys in our network, that charge $10,000 a month. I know some of you probably charge lower amounts, like $500 a month and $1,000 a month, but believe me, that can be jacked up very, very easily. But again, would that be good positioning? The answer is absolutely. Exclusivity, by referral only. Put that on your business card, put it on your website, put it on your LinkedIn profile, etc. Talents of all shapes and sizes. So go partner with a leadership guy, partner with a local marketing guy, a social media guy, a business broker, and a sales coach, and then you become the business coach, presumably, of that. And now you've got yourself a local hub, and you've got a really powerful group where you guys do speaking together, you share clients, you do events, you do both programs together, etc. That could be your positioning. Or Facebook, that Facebook guy. Okay, you're going to help your clients build Facebook groups. I got a client here in Vancouver. She refers to herself as the first lady of networking. Okay, profit. I find, again, you'll recognize this one, guys. I'll find you 10 grand in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Instant results, $10,000 in your pocket, ... in only 18 days. Imagine if that was the top of your website. Imagine if that was the backdrop on your Facebook profile. Do you think now all of a sudden you're getting a little bit more attention? Ex-military, I'm the general of new business. Speaker coach, the speaker coach for small business coaches. A combo. So you become the general, so the general is like ex-military, of new business is another niche for accountants. So how tight are you, right? The general of new business for accountants. Okay, well, we say we help business coaches get clients, ... period. Okay? So again, so these are the types of messages, guys. These are the types of things. If you want to get people out of state, you want to get people to reply, you're wondering why they're not replying, you're wondering why you're not getting meetings, you're wondering why when you speak to folks, you know that it's kind of wish-washy, and then they say, well, look, I'll get back to you, then they never get back to you. You got to get them out of state. You got to be incredibly compelling. And think of my example from the very beginning. When somebody's selling you a car, how would they want you to present? How would you want them to present your car if you own the car lot? And that's in the best possible light they possibly could. Okay? So now driving traffic. You want to get traffic on the internet, you got to have a niche. I know how difficult this can be for most of you, deciding, especially the successful coaches. For whatever reason, it gets more difficult as you become more successful, but you got to do it. So I just say pick a damn bad one, right? Just decide. You got to have a high unit of sale, okay? So if, like, go to massage therapist. How much does it cost me to get a massage? Probably $100 a month, or sorry, $100 a massage. Well, you charge $1,000 a month. They've got to do 10 massages before they break even on your coaching fees. That's not a good client. Go to a roofing client where they charge $5,000 to $10,000 to do the roof, and there's like $3,000 to $6,000 of profit. Let's say $3,000. Well, if you charge $1,000 a month, you got to help them find 4 clients in 12 months in order to pay your way. You find them 8 clients through your new strategies, they're doubling their investment with you. That's a significantly better niche. And this is not black and white, guys, but again, if I were to be advising you on how to pick that niche, I'd be going, look, let's find somebody more expensive with margin. Recurring income sales. Again, why? Like, we're in the business coach, like we look after accountants and business coaches, predominantly business coaches, because you guys go to a client, you charge them $1,000 a month, and it's recurring income. That's the kind of client that I want. I don't want to go to a realtor who basically sells a house this month, and then December, the likelihood of them selling a house is very slim. So I don't want realtors as clients because they don't have recurring income because it's constant. I want to be able to help my clients just do a better service with their existing guys as opposed to constantly eat what they kill. expertise, experience, passion. Okay, so basically, just if you've got some experience in something, I built a $5.5 million coaching company, and now I coach coaches. Okay, it's not by accident. Okay, experience. We used to do 400 grand a month, guys, in new small business coaching clients. Could you imagine the amount of lead generation that went on? And could you imagine the amount of screwing up that went on? Okay, so I've learned how not to do it. Well, now I can turn it around and I can provide it for you, and I can give you the, I know that saying, hey, I help, being transformational and transforming things, and then saying I help the, businesses go to another level, like that's okay, but it's platitudinal. I want something really, how I earned $187,000 in my first 9 months online as a coach. I want something powerful like that. But your experience, your passion. If you really like something, you love cars, well then go look after companies that look after cars in some way, shape, or form. There's 1,000 different niches within the car industry. Right? I want to go to a growing industry. I don't want to go to a lame industry. I want to go to one that's growing. Like you find a company that's selling drones, that could be a fabulous niche. You got to be careful that it's not going to be a fad, and drones won't be, in my opinion. You never know. But like, skateboarding is going to be popular and unpopular for the rest of our lives because it becomes unpopular by virtue of its popularity. You know what I mean? Like the real skateboarders get pissed off when the kids that just start dressing like skateboarders and don't really, fall and hurt themselves. So they go, stuff it, I'm going to start going snowboarding. All right? So anyways, a growing industry is, again, something I want to be looking at. Industry where people are getting started. This is huge, guys. I don't know anyone else that talks about this except for Adrian and I in the coaching space, and that's it. Like if I go to a hot salesperson, like let's say a real hot realtor who's sick of, the eating what you kill, and I can turn them into a business coach. Imagine how big my marketplace is when I can go to salespeople and corporate executives working for the man and say, how about become a business coach? Whereas let's say that my niche is chiropractors, the problem is there's like a 5-year education in between them saying, yeah, I want to be a chiropractor and then becoming one. So that's not a niche that I would pick. So an industry where you can help people get started, and now your potential online to drive traffic and to bring in hot prospects, it grows exponentially, right? I hear this all the time. Oh, Karl, if I go to a niche, oh, so boring, the same thing over and over again. Look, come on, right? Just find creativity with your kids, with your family. Take up snowboarding, take up lawn darts, take up lawn bowling, like find creativity outside. And by the way, there's an incredible amount of creativity. Like we go to business coaches or specifically, don't think for a second that there's, 5 minutes in a where I couldn't be coming up with something new and creative for my existing business coaches. Okay, so find creativity elsewhere. Saying that it would be boring if you did the same thing over and over again and you only help dentists is just silly, and that decision is costing you a lot of money. Okay?